Hello friends, today we're going to be talking about where to buy a vacation rental. So when you hear the term vacation rental, what do you think of? It's interesting because this is a market segment that didn't even exist about 10 or 15 years ago, but is now one of the fastest growing segments in the United States. And today I want to talk about where to buy the best vacation rental to get the biggest bang for your buck. Now, as we go through this topic, I want to go through the specifics about vacation rentals. What is it? How the numbers make sense? And why this really is one of the fastest growing segments in all of real estate. Finally, I want to give you some real world examples of some vacation properties that I own and why I love this market so much. You ready? Let's go. All right, so what is a vacation rental? And how is it different than a short-term rental? Essentially, they've probably looked at the exact same way, right? When you say short-term rental or a vacation rental, a lot of times we're talking about renting a property 30 days or less. Most of the time, it's looked at as a nightly rental. But let's first understand why it's such a big deal. Why is it growing so much? Well, if I were to ask you 15 years ago if you'd ever heard of Airbnb or Vrbo, you'd probably say no. But now they're some of the largest companies out there and they service this market exclusively. And I'll tell you why it's such a big deal. Many years ago, there was a book written by Joseph Pine and James Gilmore called The Experience Economy. They had talked about the different types of economies that we've gone through and growing into from the early 60s until now. You had the commodities economy. After that, you had the goods economy. After that, we jumped into a service economy. Currently, we are living in what's called an experience economy. Think about it. You, myself, most people you know, when they participate in something, they want to have an experience, an awesome experience, right? I just can't go to the store anymore and buy my daughter a teddy bear. We've actually got to go to a place and build the bear ourselves, build a bear. And rather than paying $10 or $15 for a teddy bear, you walk out of Build-A-Bear after $75, $80 on a teddy bear that you created together. Now that's an experience, right? We want to experience something so much more than just a good or a commodity. The experience is what we're looking for. And Airbnb, short-term rentals, vacation rentals offer just that to us. We want to experience an area just like a local does, or have those type of amenities available that create you staying there a much greater experience. Now, with that in mind, let's jump in and really understand the numbers and see if those numbers make sense, because if the numbers don't make sense, it doesn't matter how cool the experience is or where it's at, it's not worth buying. So the first question I like to ask, is it an area that's in high demand? Is it a place where people go on vacation? For example, if I were to ask you what national park in the United States receives the most visitors year after year? Now, I've asked that question to a lot of different people, and I would say 9 out of 10 people get the answer wrong. So if I ask you that question, how would you reply? Well, I'll tell you, most people will say Yellowstone or Yosemite. And you think about it, those are huge national parks. And Yellowstone being the first national park in the United States might be a great guess, but the actual national park in the United States that receives the most visitors year after year is the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. And think about it, it makes sense, right? It's in an area that is surrounded by a massive population. Whereas Yellowstone, it's in an area that doesn't have a huge population base, but you get a lot of people that go there. Understanding what areas in high demand is probably the first place we need to look at. However, I'm going to give you a general rule of thumb that makes sense when looking to purchase a vacation rental. So here's the first thing. So the most important thing when you buy a vacation rental is to understand the numbers. So here's a basic rule of thumb when analyzing a vacation rental. First off, you find out what the purchase price is. Now, whatever the purchase price is, if annual revenue, annual rents from short-term rentals are at least 10% of the purchase price, that's a good deal. So for example, let's say you find a property for $500,000 and annual rents is $50,000. That's a good deal. Now, if annual rents are 15% of purchase price, that's a dang good deal. That's a great deal, right? So if you buy a property for $500,000 and annual rents is $75,000, that's one you want to really consider purchasing because it's a great deal. Now, if annual rents are 20% of the purchase price of the home, that is a do not pass up deal, right? So if you find a property for $500,000 and it brings in annual rents of $100,000, that's one, somehow, some way, you want to try and get that property under contract as quick as you can. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the properties that I own. I own a vacation rental close to Yellowstone National Park. Now, I talked about those numbers earlier, and yes, they do have a significant amount of people that visit every single year. Here's the cool thing about that property. I bought it with some partners, and it's a fairly large cabin up in Island Park, Idaho. Now, this area is an area that a lot of people travel to, not just for Yellowstone, but it's great snowmobiling in the winter. There's a lot of things to do in the summertime, fly fishing, boating. So it's a great destination area, a great vacation market. But here's the thing that I found very interesting. This property we acquired for about $1 million, and it pulls in annually about $145,000, $150,000. So it fits that bill of about a 15% of rents equal to the purchase price of the property. But one thing to know, our best month ever on that property was just this last July, and it brought in $40,000 in one single month. Now, we definitely have some slower months up there, but when I first got started in real estate, about a year after I'd got going, I'd bought an apartment complex with some partners. And I remember, and this was a while ago, but it was about a 40-unit apartment complex, and it was bringing in about $22,000 a month. But there were 40 doors, 40 tenants, 40 people you had to worry about. Whereas this vacation rental in Idaho, close to Yellowstone, its best month was $40,000. And its annual rents is not too far off of a 40-unit apartment complex, and it cost a whole lot less. So when people say, hey, get involved into multifamily, get involved into multiple doors, those are multiple tenants, multiple challenges. Whereas with a vacation rental, it's one door, one tenant. Although they change, weekly, monthly, nightly, it's still one property you're worried about that can bring in a significant amount of revenue for a much lower purchase price than a lot of multifamily units. Now, I'm not saying don't get involved in multifamily units, but this is just one of the reasons why I love vacation rentals. Another property I own is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath vacation rental in Broken Bow, Oklahoma. Now, people might say, why would you buy a 1-bedroom, 1-bath? It serves as an alternative to staying at a hotel, right? It's about 1,000 square feet is all, but it's got a hot tub, it's got a fireplace, it's got a lot of amenities in the home that a hotel doesn't have. And you have a lot of people from Dallas, from Little Rock, Arkansas, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, that are willing to drive 3 hours to this gem of a place that's located in an area with lots of trees and a beautiful clean lake, Broken Bow Lake, and a lot of things to do if you're there visiting, and a lot of great places to eat. So that property alone we acquired for $500,000. And I know you might be saying, holy cow, you paid $500 a square foot for that property, but that property brings in about $85,000 a year in gross rents. Another interesting thing is, and just a few miles down the road, they're building a casino, which is going to attract a lot more people to visit as well. Last thing I want to share with you is how I search for these properties. Now, when I get into this mode and I'm looking for a vacation rental, I will spend hours diving into Googling the best places to purchase a vacation rental. Now, that's a good place to start, but then on another tab I have opened is a website called airdna.com. Now, there's a paid version of it, but there's a free version. When you're looking at areas, I like to put that area into AirDNA with a free version. You do have to sign up, give them your email, but there's no cost there. And then it tells you occupancy rate, the daily, nightly rate, as well as like monthly revenue that you should expect in that area. Now, when you pull it up, it'll pull up a ton of different Airbnbs or vacation rentals or short-term rentals, and you can click on that and you actually be taken to the link of their Airbnb link or their Vrbo link. And you can look on their calendar to see how many dates are full. If you find a bunch of properties that don't have very many bookings on the books, then that's probably an area you should maybe not invest into. So as far as vacation rentals, where is the best place to buy a vacation rental right now? Here are my choices. And I'd be interested to hear what you say, because yours might be different than me. But if I were to choose one right now, I'd probably go with Orlando. It's a destination. There's Disney World. There's a lot of things to do there. They have a major international airport, but it seems to be a place where there's a lot of people going there. Matter of fact, I just saw on a website, on a Facebook group that I'm a part of last week, an individual who just bought a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom condo in Orlando, and they said that they're booked about 90% of the time. Orlando is an area that I think is a great vacation rental market. Here's 3 others that I like as well. I do like the North Georgia mountains. I like Blue Ridge. I know a lot of people say that area is saturated, but if you have a property with views, if you have a property with some of the amenities that we have talked about, or if you have a cabin up there with views and amenities, you're going to do just fine. It's an area that a lot of people go to because it's a reprieve from the bustling city of Atlanta or other places, and it's beautiful up there. And the town of Blue Ridge, Georgia is growing. And another one I like is Broken Bow, Oklahoma. Once again, it's a little bit crazy, a little Wild West there. There's a lot of homes going up, but if you can find a good deal on something, that is only going to continue to grow. It's a place where people go. It's a destination, like I said, beautiful lake. But here's my number one. If I was going to go pick up another vacation rental right now, I think the spot that I'd invest into right now would be Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. That's been a destination area for years, right? It's not something that just came on the map. It isn't brand new. It's been a place where people have been going for decades. And I've been looking there and I've seen some properties, condos, townhomes, where you can pick up for a pretty decent price compared to what's going on in the rest of the world and have rents equal to some of those numbers I talked about, that 10% annual rents, 15% of purchase price, or even 20%. It's a hot area. It's an area that I really like. So I'd be interested to see what you say. Those are my top picks, but let me know if you think there's other places I should be looking at. And once again, don't forget I I've got a free gift for you. It's my Airbnb calculator. You put in the data, it spits out whether it's a good deal or not with all the details, and it's right here at aaronsfreetraining.com. Thanks.